Afghanistan. It was a good day. There we are. We'll go ahead now, Dave. That's the then the snow, the precipitation will come down as the weather's cold, the precipitation will come down as snow, and the snow will stay. It won't melt because the ground will be cold, frozen. And that's when the snow starts to accumulate, and it may accumulate right through to the middle of March. So how long is that? December to January, January, February, that's 3 months. Here we are, moving ahead. On the left-hand side, an exact 1918 on the front of it, and that was an optimistic way of doing it. They had no thought that there would be another war. This was the Great War. There was no First World War. It was called the Great War. And that's when Canada, at 50 years old at the time, that Blue North Star, and it joined the country in 1999. And the others of the provinces and so on, the building with the columns on the right is the old railway station, and in front of the railway station, directly in front of the coach, is the old railway hotel. This was the beginning of railway tourism in 1912. And for the Rideau Canal, there's 8 blocks of the Rideau Canal right below us. When the sun and the heat come out today, you can take a walk through these pillars here coming up on the right, make a U-turn, walk right down onto the canal and cross the locks. They're open to the public. It's a World Heritage Site. On the knoll here to the right on the green grass, it's a green grass today, isn't it? And that's Sir Wilfrid Laurier looking at the hotel that's named after him, and he was the person that ultimately had to open the hotel. Coming out to Parliament Hill now, we're beginning to emerge into the power of the country, the whole country, from ocean to ocean to ocean. This is where it starts to happen. On the left, this big hulk on the left is the Prime Minister's office. It's like the West Wing of the White House on the left. Right, we're at number 10 Downing Street. That's the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is the legislative power of the country. The legislative power of the country. Just stop after the intersection if you would, Dave. The legislative power of the country. Signed the British North America Act on July the 1st, 1867, and created the country. Stroke of a pen, create a country. A cup of coffee, please. And so this is 100 years later. The political power of the country. The government is it's still some people coming here. Okay. Oh. There's a statue on the pedestal. Hey, we all here. Good. Okay. I didn't realize the right-hand side of the bus was getting off separately.
We're not sure. We all just moved.
We're standing in front of the Centennial Flame, which was not the Eternal Flame, but a Centennial Flame, which was lit at 1 minute after midnight. 1 minute after midnight on January the 1st, 1957. So do your math and you realize now it's 143 years old. The person who started the... You have to know that. So there is some order to all of the demonstrations. This is the building on the right, which is more office space for the members. Yes. And we'd be looking down into this, and it's something that we would... this is guarded by a lady, if you notice. You can see the lady counting the gold.
When does she go shopping?
She goes home. And that she goes home, and that speaks to this little piece of granite over there. The base of that, behind the hoarding, is the cornerstone. That's where that picture is taken. And there's a man looking down at the person laying the cornerstone, and he's making sure that she knows what she's doing. Now that person is Queen Elizabeth, the woman who died at 101 and a half. There she is, and she said, "I'm very glad to meet a Scot. I like working with Scots." And he said, "Well, if you like working with Scots, then you got to know that all 14 of us on this project were all from Scotland." at which time she turned to the Governor General, who was standing in the picture to her left in the black suit, and she said to him, the Queen said, put your plan. The country is kept in the building, one copy for the collection, one copy for circulation, and the genealogy of the country is contained in there on computer. Cathedral in the city. And here we are emerging from Wellington, the timber trade, lumber processing era that happened right in front of us and all around us. All of this area around us here was the largest wood processing center in the world for 100 years. And for the first 50 years of the 1800s, MORSE, a Morse code message that was used in the Second World War, the ... of the Second World War, that says in English, lest we forget, and it says in French, n'oublions jamais, never forget. And it's all about war. And then as you move forward, Dave, you'll see there's allies and the enemy in the First and Second World Wars. Go straight through. And then there's a ramp going up the side. If you look to where the glass ends over here on the right and the concrete starts, you can see there's a ramp going up, and people can walk over the top of the building, up over the top. You can see the grass eyebrow up there now starting to appear. People can walk up over the park for performances and so on. It's well watered. Just at the in front of the bus as we turn at 11 o'clock, the bugles sound, the artillery pieces boom, the bells of the Peace Tower ring, the bugles bugle. November the 11th, 2007 was a sunny day. A sunny November, it was unusual, so I couldn't get busy. Got down here, take a picture. Now,